We are taking a live look out in beautiful Del Valley today. Still pretty quiet along the 130 toll road. We have still a crash on Bastrop Highway eastbound of Brant Road. We also still have an incident on 290. This is brand new here eastbound near Brody, not too far from that Sunset Valley area. And then we've got an object on the road, one lane blocked in Mopac. We can work with that through North Shoal Creek. But of course, be mindful of this area this week. I know once again during that microburst, we saw some of that flooding. And, you know, we're going to have rounds and rounds of this rain.
We are, yeah. You know, check it on radar. We're tracking this line that's going to be moving into Mason County here within about the next half hour. So heads up, it will be crossing the I-35 corridor for some of us closer to around 11 a.m. After that, we dry things out temporarily for this afternoon. Another round of rain and storms tonight, and then more rounds on the way through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we head into the stormy weather pattern for the remainder of the week.
Okay, grab that umbrella. Take it easy out there.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KVUE Plus app everywhere you stream.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you, and thanks for joining us on a Daybreak Plus here on KVUE Plus. Streaming on your TV. I'm Rob Evans Plus, and that's Hannah Rucker Plus.
and I'm Hannah Rucker Plus.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Deportations have got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
And as anti-ICE protests are escalating really across the country in Los Angeles, a smaller protest had tensions rising here in downtown Austin last night.
Now people are waiting for protesters that were arrested to be released from jail.
Happening right now. I mean, KVUE's Brianna Perez is outside the Travis County Jail. Brianna, what are you hearing and seeing out there right now?
Yeah, Hannah Rob, we arrived just moments ago, and I've had a chance to talk to some people who are sitting just right here outside, and they actually tell me that they're waiting for people to come out, but they didn't tell me why they're being held here. And behind me, you can still see food, blankets, and people, of course, even sleeping this morning. Yesterday's protesters marched from the Capitol to the J.J. Pickle Federal Building, which is where the local immigration that building was vandalized. Some parts have been blurred because of profanity, and it was a tense night. The rally ended with confrontation between law enforcement and the protesters. Our crews were also able to catch one on camera, at least one protester getting detained. Austin police used tear gas and pepper spray, saying they would detain anyone who resisted. Now, one protester said they've been feeling outraged with what's been happening in Los Angeles. And early this morning, Governor Greg Abbott did post on X that along with APD and Texas DPS, about 12 protesters were arrested yesterday. Via X, he adds, peaceful protesting is legal, but once you cross the line, you will be arrested. And we'll, of course, continue to monitor the building here and keep you updated both on air and online on KVUE.com with the latest. Reporting in downtown Austin, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
All right, Brianna, thank you very much for that report.
And President Donald Trump is sending hundreds of Marines to Los Angeles amid protests against immigration raids.
The president says he's open to the idea of arresting California Governor Gavin Newsom, saying his crime is, quote, running for office. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington.
This morning, President Trump sending 700 Marines to Los Angeles amid the protests against immigration and customs enforcement. The Marines will support the nearly 1,700 National Guard troops already on the ground, some seen here protecting a courthouse.
The introduction of federal military personnel without direct coordination creates logistical challenges and risks confusion during critical incidents.
LA's police chief says most of the protests in the city have been peaceful. He says those who engage in violence or vandalism will be arrested. LA Mayor Karen Bass says the federal government's response is contributing to the chaos.
It makes me feel like our city is actually a test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government.
It comes as peaceful demonstrations against ICE are spreading to other major cities nationwide, including Atlanta, Chicago, and New York.
We are not criminals.
California Governor Gavin Newsom now in a war of words with President Trump after Trump expressed support of arresting Newsom. ABC's Karen Travers with the president.
What crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had
suggested
earlier.
I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job.
Newsom challenging Trump on a podcast.
I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on.
California has sued the Trump administration. They are trying to stop the deployment of National Guard troops and Marines. The mayor says they are only protecting 2 federal buildings downtown. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
7:05, a dramatic rescue unfolded at Enchanted Rock State Park. According to Fredericksburg Fire EMS, a man suffered an injury in a remote rocky area of the park on Sunday. Crews able to reach him and safely lift that man into a helicopter, and he was flown to the hospital. The patient's condition is not known.
And cleanup and
repairs continue after widespread damage caused by storms in North Texas. In Bonham, about 90 miles northeast of Dallas, powerful winds brought down trees and power lines, damaged homes, blocked roads. Crews estimate cleanup could take weeks. A Brahms ice cream store lost its roof. That's a tragedy. I know.
I love Brahms.
I heard you gasp, Hannah. I understand.
Yes, I grew up going there. Oh.
Yes, good stuff. But it hopes to reopen rather soon. Meanwhile, lightning is suspected in 2 house fires, one in Pantego, another in McKinney. Fortunately, no major injuries have been reported. And if you liked Brahms, have you been to Andy's ice cream? Because I'm just saying, like frozen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's classic as well. I mean, growing up in Dallas, though, we'd get all kinds of things blowing in. It was always crazy. Let's take a live look. This is peaceful. This is quiet for now. But if you like rainy days, well, Casey's got just the forecast for you. Rounds and rounds of it.
Yeah, what's it looking like today, Casey?
We're already tracking another round moving through. So yeah, we're looking over the clouds then, but we're tracking a line currently moving in closer to the surface. You can see already starting to see some of that heavy rain and lightning budge its way into Mason County. It's all thanks to this line that's been approaching from the south and east, or rather from the north and west this morning, and continues to track southeastward. So a closer look in, we're now just beginning to see this budge into the northwestern corner of Mason County right now. It's moving at around 28 miles per hour to the southeast. So if we put a tracker on this, communities like Mason can expect this within about the next half hour to start to see some heavy rain, quite a bit of lightning, and likely already feeling some of those winds really pick up out ahead of this line of thunderstorms. Areas like Loyal Valley eventually getting this closer to 813, and then it'll be working its way towards our other hill country zones, and then eventually out across the I-35 corridor in Austin area as we get closer to around 10, 11 o'clock this morning. Austin right now, we're quiet, we're comfortable. A few passing clouds. You can see that sun trying to peek out between the skyline. 76 degrees out of the airport, 77 for Camp Mabry. Those winds currently light. Here goes that line of rain and storms moving through our hill country zones from now through about 9 o'clock this morning. Some of it will be approaching the I-35 corridor as we get closer to 10, 11 o'clock. I think those rain chances decrease the farther south you go. Likely you'll see the higher chances for showers and storms from this line farther north, but still we could have a few of those reach all the way down through Hayes County as this line moves on through. And then out across the coastal plains it goes closer to about noon. After that, we're drier for the second half of the day. We get a break in at least as we head into late this afternoon, this evening, with the second round of storms as we head into tonight. This is going to be kind of the case day after day. Dry time, then rounds of storms. Dry time, then rounds of storms. You'll just want to keep the umbrella handy with an increasing flood risk as we head into Wednesday and Thursday as we see more of these rounds of heavy rain move on through. I'll have the details on how much rain we're expecting, have the updated numbers with that for your 7-day forecast, and also show you when we'll start to see things dry out.
Right, that's the only issue. It's like we need the rain, but some of it kind of arrives at awkward times, like overnight when we're driving. So, we still need it though, and we're going to work our way around it. It is 7:09, and that's the main thing we'll keep in mind is the potential for that flooding. Have a way to get those KVUE alerts this week. Looking good, seeing some slowdowns coming in as always, South Austin, northbound lanes, and we have a couple crashes out there to talk about. So this one's brand new in the Manor area, 290 eastbound right there at Palmer Lane, on top of some of our typical slowdowns in the westbound lanes on 290 if you're heading out towards the Austin area. Looking pretty good coming and going from the gateway to the hill country out towards Dripping Springs. Minor slowdowns at Oak Hill. We do have a crash on 290 eastbound near Brody. Doesn't look like it's causing any major slowdowns approaching Sunset Valley. And Mopac has been doing pretty good today. We had debris. We had a little bit of a crash earlier, and then all that's cleared out very quickly. So coming and going, no major closures or anything like that right now on Mopac. We do have an object in the road in Onion Creek. We can work with that. It's just the service road, and it's northbound if you are coming in from Buda. Seeing some of that stop and go. This is cleared out now, finally. This has been a long crash on Bastrop Highway eastbound. There's the airports. If you have early morning travel, shouldn't have an issue now coming and going from Montopolis. I am still seeing slowdowns if you're coming in from Colton and Mustang Ridge. We've got that at Burleson Road, the typical slowdown there, and then a new crash 183 northbound at Evelyn Road, not too far from where it meets in with the 130 toll road. And then seeing some slowdowns if you are heading in from Cedar Creek, just always that little right there at El Camino where it meets with 183.
Austin police are investigating 2 bodies found at a North Austin apartment complex overnight. This happened on Ashdale Drive, which is right off Burnett Road, and it happened around 8:30 Monday night. Police say they received a call from a relative who went to visit someone at the complex, and once they arrived, police say the caller found a body. Officers then did a welfare check and forced entry into the apartment, where they found 2 people with apparent trauma to the body who were dead. Police have not disclosed the victims' ages, gender, or relationship, but they do say they're working to figure out how they died. They say at least one of them was a homicide. The investigation is ongoing. We'll keep you updated on air and online at KVUE.com with the latest details.
And more people are hitting the water to escape the heat, and officials urge everyone to stay safe on local waterways this summer. Since early May, 2 people have drowned in Lady Bird Lake. And there was a close call even just this past Friday with 2 people that were missing for several hours, and they were able to find them on the shore. But Lieutenant Elijah Myrick oversees APD's Lake Patrol unit. He says swimming in the lake has been banned since the 1960s. The water quality is a major concern. Pollutants like oil, chemicals, untreated runoff, they all collect in that lake there. Myrick also warns of hidden dangers below the surface, like thick vegetation, construction debris, old boat parts, and even needles washed in by past floods. This makes Lady Bird a difficult place to swim.
I think oftentimes people get a false sense of security on that paddleboard because it's like a large personal flotation device. Those paddleboards are rented out with life jackets. Unfortunately, in the last month, we've had 2 drownings related to people who rented those paddle boards and took off their life jackets and got into an uncomfortable situation because of the depth and the hazards in the water and succumbed to those injuries.
So while things like kayaking and paddleboarding are allowed, Lieutenant Myrick says he encourages people spending time in the water to always keep that life jacket on just in case, and stay in a group as well. And you heard APD touch on it briefly, but swimming has been banned in Lady Bird Lake for about 6 decades. The waterway became a lake, if you will, in 1960 when the Longhorn Dam was built to tame the Colorado River. Well, in 1964, 2 children drowned while swimming in it. That led to the swimming ban that is still in place today. You can watch our Bob Buckaloo. He does wonderful stories, just kind of really providing that context and history. He's got a big, long story, and you can find it on KVUE.com or on KVUE's YouTube page. Very much worth the watch.
Well, a close call in the Colorado River in East Austin where a mother and her 3 kids had to be rescued. It happened yesterday near I-183 in Montopolis Drive. Fire crews say they got a call about people who couldn't get out of the water. They sent in rescue swimmers to help. The family had been floating downstream on a raft. They couldn't make it back to shore. Thankfully, everybody was okay, brought back to shore. Safety, no one was hurt. Well, officials in Austin are stepping up their fight against the opioid overdose epidemic. Today at 2 p.m., Mayor Kirk Watson, Travis County Judge Andy Brown, and other health and emergency leaders will lead an updates to the public on the latest efforts to tackle the crisis. They're going to be speaking at a city hall downtown, sharing what's been done since last year's announcement and what's next in the plan to save lives. And Austin is buzzing with excitement for Pollinator Week. Yeah, you know about it. You marked it in your calendar. You've been holding this thing for a while, right? Mark it, circle on the calendar. Well, it kicks off June 16th. Mayor Kirk Watson will kick off Pollinator Week with a proclamation Tuesday at City Hall celebrating bees, butterflies, and more. All kinds of free events happening June 16th to the 22nd. Find more details at austintexas.gov/bee city. With 2 E's, Bee City.
We got to protect the bees. Okay, there's this local beekeeper, and I have kind of a crush on her. She's incredible. She's just very calm about how she does it. You have to go find her online, and you know, she's saving the bees. Okay, Kyle City Council unanimously approved a new master plan for Parks and Rec that will guide the city's growth over the next 10 years. It comes as the city continues its rapid population growth. The plan focuses on creating more inclusive and accessible outdoor spaces. The plan has 4 main goals: to build a connected system of parks and trails, protect natural areas, create economic opportunities, and ensure sustainability for the future. Key recommendations include expanding trails through the city, upgrading existing parks, and adding both indoor and outdoor rec centers. So the process it took nearly a year and included public meetings, surveys, and focus groups to gather community input. The master plan will serve as Kyle's roadmap for park development through 2035.
Well, it is summer, and that means pennies on the dollar to your nearest neighborhood garage sale. But bargain hunters, beware, there are a few items at those yard sales you should never buy. There are also a few things to keep in mind when it comes to used lawn tools. Consumer Reports explains. Here's Brian Mays.
Antiques, kids' clothing, books, and furniture. Garage sales can be a treasure trove of fantastic items for a fraction of the usual cost, but not every deal is worth it. Take battery-powered lawn tools. The product should come with the charger, the manual, and maybe an extra battery. For mowers, most riding mowers have an hour meter, so you'll know exactly how many hours it's been on the job. Don't just examine the mower, size up the yard, too.
If you're buying a mower from someone who has a ton of trees and not a lot of lawn, you're probably going to get a great deal because chances are good they haven't used their mower all that much.
If you have kids, you know that yard sales can be a great way to get what you need without breaking the bank. So no matter the deal, there are a few things you should never buy, starting with bike helmets.
You should never reuse a helmet that's been in a crash because that could impact the performance of the helmet in case of another crash. Even if there's no sign of damage, you still don't know its history. It's not worth it.
If you're shopping for a baby, be careful. It's not uncommon to find recalled infant sleepers and other baby products at yard sales. Cribs with drop-down sides are another dangerous item to never buy. These have been linked to dozens of infant deaths and were banned more than a decade ago. It's illegal to sell recalled products, but people might not be aware of the law or even realize they're selling a recalled product. Finally, walk away from car seats.
Buying used car seats is not a good idea because there's a lot that you won't reliably know about the seat, including its crash history.
And double check this when looking at old kid toys. Safe battery compartments have a screw.
Thank you, Brian Mays. I went to the best yard sale over the weekend in Austin. There's just so many of them, and there's so much vintage shopping too.
Free drinks.
Oh yeah, there was free mimosas there too, so that's always an incentive. But hey, if you are still considering a used car seat that has no broken or missing parts and you know it hasn't been in a crash, you'll want to check the seat's expiration date on the label and in the owner's manual, as well as search for any open recalls in the model. You can find the model number on the seat's manufacturer label. If you need a crib or car seat, check with nonprofits in your area too. Many sell them at a discounted price.
I feel like the wallet's easier to take out of the pocket with a few mimosas, with a few cocktails.
Right?
Maybe.
Everything looked a lot better suddenly. I was like,
a little looser, yeah.
There's a scarf I need.
Well, Texas men's basketball fans not going to have to wait long at all to see if this new team led by a new coach is ready to live up to a new standard. The Longhorns announced they're going to open next season against a team called Duke. You heard of them? Yeah, Blue Devils are the biggest brand in all of college hoops. These two programs have played each other 5 times. Duke has a slight edge, 5-0. Yep. ESPN has already called dibs on this one, by the way. It'll be nationally televised Tuesday, November 4th. No pressure, fellas. The game will be in, but now there's pressure. The game's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, 200 miles away from Duke's campus, a mere 1,200 from Austin's campus.
That home advantage. You worked in North Carolina, didn't you?
I did, yeah, and they do not mess around about their basketball.
Were you an NC fan or Duke fan?
I mean, I honestly didn't really pick a team.
Didn't care?
They didn't make you?
Yeah, they were like, go, like Duke blue or North Carolina blue. And like
when I worked in South Carolina, they're like, you got to do the Gamecocks, and so they made me go Gamecocks, and then the Clemson. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So you almost they forced me to decide.
Too, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I just like to stay indifferent. I'm out of it.
There you go.
That's you want to make the viewers mad because somebody's a fan of somebody different, right?
That's true.
No matter who it is, yeah.
Yeah, but we're all Longhorn fans, so that's what matters.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks again for watching Daybreak Plus, everybody. We got another quick weather and traffic update coming up for you for our TV audience. Then we'll be back with more local news right here, on KVUE Plus. Easy for me to say.
There you go. We'll see you here. All the pluses involved. Good Tuesday morning to you, Central Texas. How we doing? We're getting you to work now. It is 7:23, taking a live look, already seeing those slowdowns through Bluff Springs. All clear the southbound lanes if you're heading out towards South Austin today. We do have a couple hiccups popping up across the map. This one is brand new, not too far from that downtown area, Barton Springs Road at Dawson Road. Looking good along Lamar right now, but just kind of focusing in there right outside of that Mary Dawson Park there. Taking a look across the rest of the area, we also have a new incident in the Manor area on 290 impacting eastbound travel, and then kind of our typical stop and go in the westbound lanes on 290 so far this morning. All clear on Mopac. We had a hiccup a little bit earlier, but looking good. I know they've had some different lane closures the last couple of days, kind of as the day goes on. But right now we've got an object in the road if you are traveling in from Buda heading out towards Onion Creek, but we can certainly work with that. And this one is cleared out. Bastrop Highway eastbound looking much better now. Just a little stop and go through Del Valley. All right, Casey, we've got rounds and rounds of rain. What's the latest?
Yeah, and our first round of the day moving through right now. This will be tracking into the hill country. It already has begun to do so out in Mason County. It's a line we've been tracking all morning long, packing some heavy rain and quite a bit of lightning. Now working its way to the south and east. Heavy rain, lightning out across the northwestern corner of Mason County and into the community of Mason. This will continue that track at around 28 to 30 miles per hour. Eventually should be arriving in Llano within about the next hour or so, and then eventually out towards Enchanted Rock closer about 8:40, and will continue to work its way towards the I-35 corridor as we get closer to around 10, 11 o'clock. Not always seeing some showers and storms out of this. I do expect it to break apart a little bit more as it tracks off to the east, but a few of us certainly will as this eventually tracks out by this afternoon, leaving us drier for the second half of the day. More rain and storms overnight, and then again for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Welcome back to Daybreak Plus on KVUE Plus, streaming free on your TV. I'm Yvonne Nava.
And I'm Malia Masamoto. We're going to take a live look outside this morning. The storms are coming back again. They're moving into central Texas here.
Look at those clouds. Yeah, that's an
I feel
interesting.
in the heavens. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's an interesting view.
But it's great.
But if you notice, the clouds look like they're full. They're full, right? It's a busy week for KVUE meteorologist Casey Sherman. And let's talk about that rain.
Yeah, I mean, looking above the clouds looks nice, but man, down below, if you're in Mason County, you're seeing the lightning, hearing the thunder. We've got this line of rain and storms. It's now working its way into at least the western part of the county here. We've been tracking this line all morning long. It moved from the San Angelo area, now beginning to push into our far western hill country counties, where we have heavy rain now just off to the west of Mason at the moment, and along that stretch of roadway heading towards London, where we're also tracking quite a bit of lightning. I'm sure they're hearing the thunder at the moment. And likely also feeling some gusty winds out ahead of this line. Those winds are going to continue to pick up as it moves on to the south and east. This is tracking at around 28 to 30 miles per hour. So putting a rough little timer and tracker on this, we can expect this in the Llano area in about the next hour or so. I'd expect this closer to Enchanted Rock, also closer to about 8:41 this morning. Then eventually could be arriving in Burnett closer to 9 a.m. as it approaches the I-35 corridor, which eventually should be moving through by around 10, 11 o'clock. So while you're dry to start mid-morning, you'll need the umbrella. We'll continue to track these rain and storms through Travis County, Williamson County, again 10, 11 a.m. and then eventually out across the coastal plains around lunchtime before we dry things out. That first round of rain and storms exits, and then we'll be heading into what should be another round of rain and storms overnight tonight. So have the umbrella ready. That'll be the case for today. I think a lot of us won't need it for the second half of the day and for the evening commute. But again, more rounds of showers and storms tonight, and again for Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Those rain chances actually will be picking up even a little bit more by about the middle of the week. With that, we'll be tracking an increasing flood potential where some areas could be picking up to 6 inches of rain over the next 7 days. I'll be breaking down the timing of the rain and storms over the next couple days and have your full 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit. But right now, I'm going to check in on that morning commute with Hannah.
Oh yeah, thank you, Casey. And I know we need every drop of that rain. It's going to help our lake levels, keep everything green and the temperatures low. But of course, we are going to be mindful of the potential for that flooding. We saw that recently with that microburst. We saw it in Dallas earlier this week. So we're really going to be minding the roads and be careful this week. Looking right now across the area, seeing some minor slowdowns once again, still coming in from South Austin, and really just a couple hiccups here and there, but no full closures or anything like that as of right now. We do have a new crash near the downtown area at Barton Springs Road, at Dawson Road, causing some slowdowns there. Looking all clear in Lamar, though, so far this morning, and looking good on our downtown bridges as well. Got a stalled vehicle here and there. We do have an active crash in Manor. Good morning. This is on 290 eastbound at Palmer Lane, and seeing still some stop and go along 290 there in the westbound lanes as well. So slowdowns on both sides. We've had a great morning so far in Mopac. I know as the late morning goes on is when things start to ramp up, but we're looking pretty good so far, and no active crashes in South Austin, just those typical slowdowns there. That incident outside the airport cleared up. This is still active, though. If you are coming in from Mustang Ridge, heads up for you, friends. 183 northbound at Evelyn Road.
All right, thank you, Hannah. Well, think everything's bigger in Texas. It's not when it comes to apartments.
A new report shows unit sizes are shrinking across nearly every major Texas city, and in some cases by a lot. Let's listen to the story, but I want to hear what you have to say on it. Jason Wheeler explains.
Is my green screen smaller than usual, or have I grown? Or is it just perspective? I was going through the details of a new report the other day, and it reminded me of a townhome I used to live in, which was relatively small. Not quite this small, but it was tiny. I chuckle every time I see that pic because the optical illusion makes the house look really tiny, or it makes me look like I'm big tex trapped inside a building. Anyway, back to the report I was reading from Rent Cafe, which suggests that no, not everything is bigger in Texas after all. That's sad. Anyway, the analysis was looking at the phenomenon of apartment size, and it finds some serious shrinkage here in Texas over the last decade. In fact, with just one exception, every single Texas market and submarket that they looked at here showed the average new apartment has been downsized. Austin, 53 square feet smaller, a loss of 6%. Houston, down 39 square feet. Dallas losing 35 square feet, both of those shrinking by 4% over the last decade. Out of all the markets in the country, they listed Arlington as having the most significantly skimpier new apartments, down 215 square feet over the last 10 years. That's 19% smaller. We just lost the primary bedroom. Back to the one exception, though. The only Texas locale where the typical new apartment grew in size over the last 10 years, according to Rent Cafe, was Louisville, up 13 square feet. Yes, that's just a measly 1%, but hey, that's an extra reach-in closet. Or it becomes a vertical main bedroom if you lost that primary bedroom in these last 10 years, like in Arlington. More info in my write-up today, posted at Jason Wheeler TV on Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky, where even if we're cramped, we're trying to live right on the money.
All right, I know you have something to say on this. You've already lived in 2 apartments here, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the first one and the one you're in now?
Okay, so I downsized.
You did?
I feel like it's the opposite.
Purposely?
Yeah, purposely.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my thing. I actually like smaller spaces.
Really?
I have a studio and I love it. I think a studio is great. It's all you need. It's just me. I don't have pets, so it's.
I could see you
what do
living in New
need?
York. Nice and easy, a studio.
I've done that for a little bit, you know, just like time to time, go and dance there and lived in a small studio, and it's great.
So what do you do when it comes to closet space? Because that to me is an issue.
This was the issue, and I was touring apartments, and all of them didn't have big closets in the studios. So some of them, it was a combined closet over a laundry room.
Oh.
Which was not going to work, but I chose one that does have a closet now. So that was a big.
I also
we needed
hear
the closet.
that people use underneath the bed as like storage.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've used like put suitcases, different storage boxes. There's a lot of different. You get creative with it, and it's if you like organizing. What's that Marie Kondo? Style,
If it doesn't give you joy, then you
joy,
toss it.
Let it go.
Yes.
That's all you need. It's about where you are and who you're nearby. I think that's the better thing.
I've had friends that don't cook, so it's never going to be a problem. So they don't cook, so they use their oven as like space, as storage space as well.
That's me.
What? Are you serious?
Not inside my oven. There's a little compartment underneath the oven. I don't know what it's supposed to be used
That's where
for.
you put your pans. A lot of your
don't have.
I love that. That's awesome.
I'm learning new things.
Yeah, you put your pans there, like a lot of like your baking sheets.
I have one baking sheet. Thank you
so
for teaching
fun.
me life lessons, Yvonne.
But you know,
this is great.
You know what? So you're using, but do you actually use your oven?
Yeah. Oh, I do cook.
Wait, are you sure it's not going to heat up whatever you have down there? You don't want to start a fire. Firefighters, can you reach out to us and let us know if that is
Please let us
safe?
know.
I just want to make sure. I just want to protect Malia at all costs.
I appreciate this. This has been very informational right now. Maybe I'll do some reorganizing.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe we should do that. Okay, let's talk about. I think you have to be living either under your stove or under a rock to not know about this next story.
Oh yeah.
A federal judge has dismissed Justin Baldoni's $400 million countersuit against Blake Lively. They dismissed it.
Yeah, well, it was over her sexual harassment and retaliation claims. Now, the judge ruled that statements made in lawsuits are protected from defamation claims and that Lively's alleged actions actually didn't meet the legal definition of extortion. Baldoni's claims against Ryan Reynolds in the New York Times were also thrown out.
Lively's legal team called the ruling a total victory, and they plan to seek damages and attorney's fees. The film, despite the controversy, I watched it, debuted with a strong $50 million in the box office. I'm sorry that they're going through this, but I just feel like if I never hear any one of their names again, I'll be fine.
That's what I was about to say.
Right?
I think I'm done with this.
It's just gone so overboard, and then the smear campaign on both ends, right?
Like, it's like a high school thing. We got a smear campaign going.
Yes, I feel like if you have some beef, like handle it privately. Do we all need to know about it? But I understand. Did you watch the movie?
I didn't actually. I was going to ask you what you thought.
Yeah, because
it's a book too.
Yeah, and it was a book, and I just think, you know, I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
Okay.
You know, her choice of, I guess, her outfit choices
I heard
were
it's
a little
quirky.
questionable.
People were talking about that on TikTok before the movie came out because they had little snippets of her filming around wherever they were filming, and
I guess you could wear whatever and call it fashion, but whatever.
I think her character is supposed to be a little bit
quirky
style-wise, right?
And one of them, I think she's wearing like 2 pairs of pants, and I was like,
you know, to each their own. Everyone's got their own style.
I guess so. Just don't put those pants, Blake, underneath the oven like she does.
Not a good storage place, definitely.
I understand you're just trying to be creative. Well, experts are raising a new warning this summer about that needle in a haystack that may actually not be a needle at all. At first sting, it could feel like a needle though.
Wow, but apparently it only gets worse from there. And if you thought the murder hornets were bad, brace yourself for the Asian needle ants. This is exciting. Okay, ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the story.
This morning, new sightings of a potentially deadly invasive species as the Asian needle ant spreads across the U.S. The stinging ant has been spotted in at least 17 states, with the insects now creeping their way into Texas for the first time ever. Wildlife officials are warning of an increase in allergic reaction to the ants. Their painful sting, which can pierce through clothing, contains venom that can trigger anaphylaxis, a life-threatening reaction that causes swelling of the tongue and throat, difficulty breathing, and weak or rapid heart rate. At least 3 people in Georgia Georgia wound up in the hospital last year after getting stung by needle ants. It comes as Joro spiders have become an unexpected part of life in Georgia. Native to East Asia, the colorful arachnids the size of a human hand first showed up in the state about a decade ago and have since spread rapidly across the southeast.
Spiders, when they get scared, they freeze and they don't do anything. I don't know what you would have to do to get bitten by a Joro spider, but it's very, very unlikely, and even if it happens, it's not going to be dangerous.
The Asian needle ant is not the first invasive insect sparking concern over its deadly sting. In 2019, the so-called murder hornet was spotted in Washington, the wicked wasp known for its incredibly painful sting as well as its aggression.
The mandibles, there we go, you can sort of see them, are pretty large. They're very, very sharp, and that's what they use to decapitate these, and then they'll mash up the thorax into a meatball, they call it, and fly it back to feed to their larvae.
Murder hornets were officially eradicated in the U.S. last year. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, nothing beats cooling off in the pool on a hot summer day.
Oh yeah, but all that chlorine can leave your skin and hair feeling dry and damaged.
When it comes to the pool, it's one of those things where an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. You really want to protect your skin and your hair before you get in the water.
Lucas with Cleveland Clinic says one of the best ways to do that is by rinsing off before you dive in. Getting your skin and hair wet first helps block the chemical water from soaking in. Now, she also recommends wearing a swim cap or applying leave-in conditioner before going swimming. And afterwards says rinse off with some gentle soap. Use rich conditioner and reapply moisturizer. And of course, don't skip the sunscreen. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but I like that idea to use the conditioner, but then won't it get kind of yuck?
Or in the pool? Yeah, it would sit in there.
Yeah.
I think you put it on after, right? You like apply the.
Or maybe
apply
if you
it
let it
after.
sit, like leave it on a mask for a few hours.
Yeah, because it does mess up your hair, and your hair starts to get kind of brittle.
It does. Growing up, my hair would turn kind of green because I would swim so much. The blondies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So that was the
never
thing.
Gotta just wear like one of those swim caps, you know?
Yeah. Right, but they're just not very cute, but that's okay.
You know what? It makes your hair cuter for later.
Yeah, there you go,
It's all about that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, today might be not the best swimming days because of all of the rain.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we've got rain, we've got storms, so yeah, lightning, of course, not a good thing to be swimming out in. Remember, when thunder roars, go indoors, and that's what we certainly, I'm sure, have been hearing. If you're in Mason County, the Hill Country right now, Gillespie County, and Llano County, look at this line that's currently now moving through. We haven't had anything reach severe limits in our area just yet, but man, are these loud, even without the fact that they are below severe limits. I'm sure it certainly sounds like it with these rolling on through. A lot of heavy rain with this line coming in as well. Notice we're tracking this now just beginning to push into the western part of Mason County, and that track to the south and east will continue as we head through the remainder of this morning. Eventually, it'll be approaching and pushing through the I-35 corridor closer to around 10, 11 o'clock. So while we are dry to start, if you're going to be out and about through later this morning, within about the next few hours, 3 to 4 hours, you'll need the umbrella. This line will continue to work its way through the area, likely weakening as it does so in tracks eastward, though still, I think, bringing quite a bit of heavy rain and some lightning across the region. It'll be pushing out across the coastal plains closer to about noon, and then a lot of us will actually see a nice break from the rain and the storms as we get into the second half of the day. So the commute home from work should be quieter. If you're picking up kids from those summer camps later on by about 4 o'clock or so, we should be pretty quiet with the partly cloudy sky. But tonight, here we go, another round of storms will be rolling on through. This one moving through after about 11 p.m. and I think this particular line might be a little bit more widespread heading into late tonight. It will continue to pass through the area through 2, 3 o'clock. That exits. We've got another break and then more storms coming in rounds throughout the day for Wednesday. And this same kind of pattern, it will continue through Thursday and even Friday as we have this very unsettled pattern overhead across the region. The reason being, we've got this front that moved in from the north yesterday. It didn't work its way too far. In fact, it remains just across our area, stalled. Waves of energy tracking and along that, like a train track. Notice the current one that's currently moving through will continue to produce what's going to be just this unsettled pattern as we head into the next several days. So it's going to be one of those weeks where you'll need the umbrella on and off. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will continue with some more widespread storms. It's really not until the weekend that we'll start to see those rain chances come down a little bit. I do think still both Saturday and Sunday going to be featuring some spotty showers and storms, but it's not going to be quite as widespread as what we'll be dealing with through just generally for all of us through the remainder of the work week. Now, with the widespread rain and storms, we'll also have to watch for the flooding potential. I think that's going to be one of our main concerns from these storms rolling through day in and day out. Yes, we do have a low and severe potential, but our flood risk will be the kind of biggest concern at a level 2 out of 4 for today, Wednesday, and also Thursday. Watch for the soils becoming more and more saturated as multiple rounds of some heavy rain track through the area. The rain, though, it's certainly a good thing. 7-day rainfall total showing anywhere widespread amounts between 2 to 3 inches of rain. On average for the month of June, we see around 5.5 inches of rain. So we're going to be looking at, for a lot of us, about 60% of the monthly rainfall that we typically get for June just within a matter of 7 days. Now, we could have some pockets picking up to around 6 inches of rain, depending on where some of the heaviest the downpours fall. And again, the rain at least will be helping things out as far as our drought conditions go and lake levels go. Severe weather potential, level 1 out of 5 each and every day. Again, we could see some storms capable of producing some gusty winds of up to and over 60 miles per hour and maybe even some hail, but the flood risk will be really the big concern with these. 80s, low 90s today. A benefit from the rain and storms is we'll be cooler. 60s, low 70s overnight. Tomorrow, in fact, will many of us just topping off in the lower 80s, well below average by a solid 10 to 13 degrees for this time of year. Allergy count, grass, weeds, hickory low, mold remaining high today. 7-day forecast, 70% chance for scattered storms for Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, we keep with those rounds of rain and storms. By the weekend, we're a little bit drier. Still be looking at some spotty showers and storms with highs back into the 90s.
Ooh, we need every drop of it. Looking forward, of course, we don't want the flooding risk out there, so we're going to be very mindful of that and closely watching the roads in some of these areas that, these pockets that are susceptible to that flooding. Right now, taking a live look out there, just kind of some general slowdowns, and we do have a couple new crashes. So let's get into it. We actually have a vehicle fire going on right now, not too far from that Bee Cave area on Spillman Ranch Loop at Falcon Head Boulevard. So heads up for you there. They're working that car fire. All clear along 71, though, if you are coming and going from Bee Cave so far this morning. Let's take a look. We also have an active incident still going on. If you're just waking up, this is at Barton Springs Road, eastbound lanes. It's impacting at Dawson Road, right off of Lamar. Lamar looks good, though, right now if you are traveling. Good morning. If you're heading out to Zilker Park, kind of a cloudy day for it, but no judgment there if you're maybe going to go getting a dip at Barton Springs. And right now we still have an active incident on 290 out in the Manor area impacting those eastbound lanes. Still seeing slowdowns in the westbound lanes. Let's go ahead and move along here, and I can show you some of our drive times as we are heading out the door as well. Hang on, let me get on my last slide over here. Okay, looking good there. Yep, as you can see, we've got kind of area-wide slowdowns. A lot of us not going faster than 35 miles per hour right now on a Tuesday morning.
Nice and slow. That's the way I like to drive. I drive really slow, like a Sunday driving. I'm sure people love driving behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Planning a wedding can be stressful. It can be so expensive. A honeymoon can only add the stress and add to the price tag as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. ABC's Melissa Dawn shares some of the best budgeting tips for a honeymoon.
After you say your I do's and have the best day ever, newlyweds often go on honeymoons, a vacation to celebrate their new marriage. But what's the best way to plan an affordable and unforgettable honeymoon? Start by planning early, at least 6 months out.
I think if you're doing that, you're able to think about what experience do I want to prioritize? What's my budget? How much do I want to spend?
Paul Ricci, Chief Executive Officer at Best Egg, says planning can save you money and give couples time to set a realistic budget and explore deals and discounts.
Look for deals or look for packages and make sure that, you're not scrambling at the last minute and having to, maybe eat some of the higher cost alternatives that are only available in the last minute.
Ricci also recommends prioritizing what experiences you want to have.
Whether it's snorkeling in the, clear blue waters of the ocean, and maybe in order to do that, you would have sort of a lower budget for dining or something like that, and really trying to make sure that you're getting the experience that you want.
Also, leveraging your wedding registry and creating a honeymoon fund is a great way to allow guests to contribute to costs like flights, accommodations, or activities instead of traditional gifts.
I think back to my own wedding and registry, and you sort of pick things that to fill out the list and end up maybe not using all of those things that you get. It's much better to have maybe that money go towards the experience that you want for your honeymoon.
Above all, remember, communication is key. Focus on sharing your ideas and celebrating your marriage.
I think you can enjoy it if you're going into it with a little bit of planning, a little bit of foresight, and not sweating the small stuff.
Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
So, Yvonne, I think you're the only one married at this table. But I will say, I do think this generation's kind of getting a little crazy with some of the planning. Like, I feel like our parents were really chill about, my parents got married in a tiny little side of the road deal. They had like their party at a dive bar. You know, it's like, it's so
huge.
And
the
it's like,
wedding industry is
yes. I'm like, why is it so over the top now?
Everything is so expensive.
Everything. So I got married at the Hyatt Regency here.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because I couldn't get a priest to marry us in a church because my husband's Jewish, and I couldn't get married in a synagogue because I'm Catholic. So like nobody wanted to marry us, so we had to go into like just a middle ground. But we still had a priest and a rabbi. It was like a priest and a rabbi walk into a church like that. So we had them all there, but we met at that location, and that's where we had it. But I will say, people are getting smart to where they say, don't give us gifts, give us money for the honeymoon. And that's thinking ahead.
That's actually, that's very smart.
Yeah, because I mean, how many blenders can you get? You know?
I know. And I'm always the one last minute like stressing out, and it's just so much easier just to send that money in.
And I feel like people really like that too, because it's money for an experience versus just
that's what people
material
need now.
I
and
like
building
the experience.
memories right away. They're starting their marriage. That's sweet.
What would be your ideal honeymoon place? We went to Maui. You guys, what would be your ideal place?
Japan.
Ooh,
that's neat. What's the place? Is it Bali that has the cool like water, the huts that are on the water? Is that no Maldives?
Oh, Maldives. Yeah, those. I was like, I think Bali does have some of those.
Like, is that, maybe they probably do, but
Kevin knew that so quickly.
Thank you. Our brains aren't working quite as well as the time.
Where would that be? And what's your ideal spot?
Ooh, I don't know. Okay, my parents went to Tahiti, which sounds really cool. Nice beachy vibes. But I would probably do something similar beach, but like European beach, like maybe Italian, very French Riviera, something like that. I think that would be cool.
By the way, a lot of people are traveling to Japan because they said is it the yen? Is that my saying?
I think so. Yeah.
I think just the currency goes a little bit more of a long way right now.
Yeah, and it seems really peaceful. I don't know, their culture, that they take good care of each other. They're clean. They're considerate.
Sushi.
Of course.
Sushi.
And all the sushi you can eat. I love sashimi too. Like, I eat it raw, man. I like it.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, now to the Icelandic singer who's doing it her own way. Her name is Lave.
And people often pronounce it incorrectly. You said it right, though, but not for long. ABC's Danny New has the story.
Here with the song Tough Luck, Lave.
The first time you hear 26-year-old Lave sing,
your eyes turn gray, you beg me to be silent.
Your first question may be, when did she come from?
I just love music from the past, and I love honoring it.
Don't you notice how?
Many say her genre is jazz pop.
Leve.
And last year, she did win a Grammy for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album with her breakout LP, Bewitched.
So I propose.
But before she was a Gen Z superstar with 8 million followers on TikTok, this classically trained cellist grew up in Iceland in a household full of music. Her mother actually moved there from China to join the Iceland Symphony Orchestra, and her father, who was an Icelandic native, introduced Lave to jazz.
I always grew up with a very deep voice, and hearing Ella Fitzgerald always, I don't know, I was like, she is like the most amazing singer to me.
Belting her way to being a finalist on Iceland Got Talent as a young teenager, Lave eventually earned a scholarship to the States at Boston's Berklee College of Music. Soon enough,
So I propose.
she was making music that Rolling Stone said, quote, bridges generations. However,
I never thought I was born in a wrong century. I think that's kind of a misconception about me and my project.
you know what? I like air conditioning.
Yeah.
Most recently, that scholarship I mentioned actually leads us to her newest project, the Lave Foundation. She just launched her own nonprofit aiming to provide more access to classical music education, and she's already teamed up with youth orchestras and ensembles in Boston, Los Angeles, and New York's Carnegie Hall.
I always told myself the second I have like the means to. I want to be able to give back.
By the way, Leve also has a new album coming out this August called A Matter of Time, a fitting name for her timeless music. And for the record, she told me she does like pop music too. She's kind of just blending it all in her own unique style. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Into one box, right? You can do whatever. She's a cellist, she's this, she's that, she's fantastic.
I love that blend of music with the traditional pop and current pop references. That's so cool to me because I love traditional jazz. So seeing it all come together, I think it's so unique.
I bet you could come up with some good choreography for her music.
That'd be great. That'd be so cool.
Malia's a ballerina. She's a good dancer.
All the styles, yeah.
I like that she listens to Ella Fitzgerald. That was one of her, inspirations.
Because jazz in this new generation, it's kind of dying out. It's like we got to hold on to it. It's just
jazz can't. I feel like Ryan Gosling in La La Land, where he's like, jazz, jazz,
yes, it's true.
And that's always me fighting for the jazz music. I love it.
Yeah, my parents, I mean, they're jazz musicians. They played it all growing up, and there's something. It's very comforting.
Oh yeah, I could just like cooking in the kitchen, listening to jazz.
Oh yeah, there's
just
nothing
relaxing. Yeah,
we need that in our lives right now.
We need that in the studio. We should play that during the show.
Listening to like just the rain come down. That's also soothing as well. We're gonna be feeling that.
For this week. We've got multiple rounds of rain and thunderstorms on the way. We have our first one currently moving through Mason County, Llano County, Gillespie County. I'm sure you're hearing the thunder, seeing the lightning, and even seeing the heavy rain. That line will be pushing out across the I-35 corridor by around 10-11 a.m. So heads up, keep the umbrellas around today. We've got another round that moves through tonight, another round that will be moving through during the afternoon and evening hours of your Wednesday, and we keep the rounds coming through Thursday. We'll have to watch out for the flood risk, though, as we see more and more rain kind of pile up here. We will be looking at an increasing flooding threat through Wednesday and Thursday, and then by Friday into the weekend, we start to see those rain chances come down. But I think even into the weekend and early next week, we will still have at least some of these needed chances for showers and storms. And another positive is that we'll see cooler temperatures this week with highs in the 80s. It's pretty nice for the month of June.
Truly. Better than what, 108 it was a couple weeks ago?
Right, yeah.
Right? We know
100 degrees by the weekend.
We know that's coming this summer. But once again, thank you so very much for joining us here on Daybreak Plus. You can join us again tomorrow on KVUE Daybreak from 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Yes, and remember, Daybreak continues on Daybreak Plus. Daybreak Plus is from 7 to 8. But again, every morning from 4:30 to 7, you can catch us on TV on Daybreak. Regular Daybreak without the plus.
Yes.
But still just as good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, good point.
Yes.
Good point. I hope you have a good day. And grab that umbrella.